Hello, Internet, so nice to see you. People stop me in the street and ask me, Tommaso, people really stop you in the street? No, that's another joke, sorry. People stop me in the street and ask me, Tommaso, I can play this, that, and that other thing on the guitar. Am I a beginner player? Am I an advanced player? Am I an intermediate player? And you may have the exact same question. Are you beginner, advanced, or intermediate? Well, let me tell you one thing. I actually hate this question because there is no way to answer it in a way that it's helpful to you, okay? And it's important that you understand that and why, so that first of all, you don't ask this horrible question again, and second, you understand. Because let's face it, you are asking this question for two reasons, a good one and a bad one. The good reason is that you're asking if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, because you want to know what you need to study next, what you need to practice next, what you need to learn next. That's a very good reason. And the other reason you ask is because you want to know if you are the best guitar player of the city yet and how long it's going to take to get there, right? Which is not a great question because there is no best, okay? Music is about self-expression, not just technique, not just performing, okay, and not just competition, so there is really no best. There are lots of people who play great music and they're all different. The problem here is that you are not anything. You are not a beginner, you are not an intermediate, you are not an advanced player, because this is not something that you are, okay? You may have some skills that you practice and took it up to advanced level or intermediate level, or you just started to work on them, and so those skills are at an intermediate level. You have the skills, but you are not a beginner, okay? And you can be also balanced or imbalanced as a guitar player. And by the way, imbalance, it's not a bad thing usually, okay? It really depends. The thing is that I get those people and they tell me, Tommaso, I know my music theory fairly well. My guitar technique is so-so. I can play a number of songs if I go on stage, but when I'm trying to compose, I'm really bad. Am I beginner or advanced? Gee, dude, you are a bit all over the place. That's the thing, okay? There is no single word that expresses everything you just told me. Okay, and by the way, this could be your situation. You could be completely different. You may have great technique and not so great theory. You may not have a good repertoire. You can be good at composing or not. Not important. The important thing is to identify your strong points and your weak points. Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, stop using the words beginner, advanced, and intermediate. First of all, again, you cannot use a single word to understand the whole situation. And second, where exactly do you put the threshold? If you're a composer, when you go from beginner to intermediate, what exactly is the test you need to pass to go at the intermediate level? Nobody knows. And honestly, nobody cares. You're not here to pass a test. We are here to make music. First, take stock of your abilities, okay? Take stock of your skills. Okay, so that you know where you are and your situation. Second thing, okay, you're gonna have some skills where you are strong and some skills where you're weak, at least comparatively speaking. Even if you just started, you can have an intuitive feeling. Maybe you have a good ear already, maybe not. Maybe you have a good technical ability already. Again, maybe you cannot play a chord, but you can see that you're learning this thing easier than other people, so that's good. Take stock of that. Maybe you don't know anything. Maybe you know something already. No problem. But take stock on where you are, knowing that there is no judgment. It's just making the point on the map of where you are. Second, and that's the most important thing, and people always forget that. The second point, it's important, as you see in a moment, because it's going to take us to point 3. Point 2 is decide your goals. Decide your goals, because if you want to become a shredder, a heavy metal shredder, or if you want to play, I don't know, classical guitar, or if you want to play jazz comping, Those are three completely different goals, and you will need to learn completely different things, okay? And it is perfectly possible to have all the skills to do one of those things and very little of the skills to do one other of those things, okay? So you could be a super fast and even super expressive shredder and haven't the faintest idea on how to do jazz comping. You could be a great jazz comper, okay? I don't know if comper, if I'm inventing comper right now, but you could be great at jazz comping, okay? So playing chord progressions with jazz and playing kind of the accompaniment of a jazz song, but you may have no idea how to shred. Again, it's not that one is better or the other is worse. It's not that one is harder and the other is easier. It's just that are two different skills. So first of all, decide what you want. If you want to become a shredder, for instance, it's important to know, because if you want to become a shredder and then go and learn from a classical guitar player and they teach you finger picking, you're wasting your time. You could be the best student and this person could be the best teacher, but it's just not teaching what you want, okay? And this is not taking you any closer to your goals. And if you have no goals, it's a problem. Your goals could even be, I just want to play a few campfire songs. That's okay, not important. Nobody here is judging your goals. Like nobody here is judging where you are right now. Or at least they shouldn't, okay? So don't tell them, so nobody judges you. Just take stock for yourself, but decide what you want to do, okay? And even if you're thinking, I'll never be a shredder, just write down that you want to. This is not a commitment. You are just deciding what you want, okay? Not a commitment yet. Important point, because this will tell you, decide. Or better, ask, what are the relevant skills? Okay, like we were saying a moment ago. If you want to become a jazz comper, okay, want to play jazz comping, there is really no point to learn a number of techniques that are typical of shredders. For instance, sweep picking. You're not going to use that if you do jazz comping. I'm not saying sweep picking is bad. It's just not what you need right now. You can learn it later, okay? See, there is one way in which this instrument is different than any other instrument on the face of the planet. Is that if you want to learn to play violin or piano or oboe, okay, there is a strong repertoire for those instruments and there is an accepted way to play those instruments and it's standard, okay? With maybe the possible exception of the violin, we have violin and fiddle, okay, which is the same instrument played in a slightly different way, or the piano where you can learn to play classical piano or jazz piano, but by and large the technique and the curriculum is very similar, there's not a lot of interplay. For these instruments, since this was the rogue instrument of the last century, we invented hundreds of ways of playing it, okay? You can finger picking, you can hybrid picking, you can use only a pick, you can play it with your thumb, okay? You can play chords, you can play with this, or you can play scales, you can play soloing, you can mix soloing and chords, you can play chord melodies essentially. You can play only double stop, you can play it clean, you can play it with distortion, you can play with effects, you can play without effects, okay? So it's not one instrument, it's a chameleon, okay? So for this specific instrument, you really need to have your ideas clear on what you want to do so that teachers like me and other people can advise you on what you need to study, okay? It's not one size fits all, especially for guitar. And this is true for electric guitar, but also for acoustic guitar. There are several styles, several different, and they are very different from each other, more than styles in other instruments. Then finally, point 4, okay, once you took stock of all those things, and by the way, the best thing again is to ask somebody who's already know what you want to do, somebody who's already doing what you want to do, somebody who has proven that they can teach what you want to do. Don't look just at the teacher, look at their students. They will show you if they are learning or not. Anyway, you want to ask somebody and ask them, hey, that's what I can do, that's what I want to do. What are the relevant skills and how do I improve them? And then 4, you want to practice them. And finally, point 5, super important too. Don't worry if you are in balance. don't worry about balance. Balance, yes, really good. Why am I saying that? Well, lots of the players you love are very imbalanced players. They may have one skill, two skill, a few skills taken up to a very high level, and other skills that are completely neglected because they are just not using them, okay? There are people who can play a great rhythm track, and they cannot play a solo. Or maybe they can, but they never really use it. It's not important as long as you like what they play. There are people who can play a solo, and they never play a rhythm. Maybe they can play it, maybe not, but we never know. Jeff Beck was famous for playing only solos. I'm sure Jeff Beck could play a good rhythm, but nobody ever asked him to, okay? B.B. King couldn't even imagine playing double stops. B.B. King never played a chord in his life, apparently, okay? Is that a problem? Does it make them less musicians, less of a good musician? Honestly, no. They did exactly what they wanted, okay? They were able to express themselves exactly what they wanted, and everybody who listened to them and liked them was able to enjoy what they were doing. So forget about being a balanced musician. Decide what you want and study that. And if you need help, call somebody who knows what they're doing. Guys, if you want to write me an email, you know where I am. Write me an email, I'll totally tell you. And if I can help you, great. Otherwise, I'm sending you to somebody else who can help you. It's not a problem. It doesn't have to be with me. For the love of God and all other guitar gods, okay? Stop thinking of yourself like, am I a beginner? Am I an intermediate? Am I an advanced? You are nothing of the sort. You are neither of them. You may have some advanced skill. You may have some beginning skills. And if at a certain point you decide to study something new or your interests change, on those new skills, you are a beginner again, okay? It's not a property of who you are. It's a property of what you do, what you study, and what you want to do. Find out all the answer here, ask somebody who you trust, and again, I'm here if you want to. Practice, forget about the imbalance, and forget about being a beginner or not. Since I am here, I just published a new ebook. Completely free ebook that teaches you how to learn the notes on the fretboard. That's something that is pretty good for pretty much everybody who's playing guitar, because if you don't even need the notes on your fretboard, it's gonna be really hard for you to study any of the more advanced things, okay? Learning notes on the fretboard seems something impossible. It's like something impossible, but it's not so hard if you know exactly what to practice. You're gonna find the link of this on the top right and in the description of this video. Get it, it's free, practice it, and in 5 minutes a day for a few weeks, you're gonna know the notes on your fretboard forever, permanently, with instant recall. Get that? This is the one thing where one size fits all. You need to learn the notes on your fretboard. It's gonna make everything else better. For everything else, follow this procedure. This is Tommaso Ziglia of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy!